called to go and find Jesus. She left home under really bad circumstances. There was a plan for her to marry somebody who was tremendously unkind and like really abusive, actually. And she had already experienced abuse, physical and sexual, and she had no desire to be around that kind of energy. And so what she actually did was she fled, but she didn't like she made a conscious, like she did, it wasn't like a disappear in the night kind of fleeing. It was more of a, I'm making a conscious decision to do this choice, fleeing. And her father told her, if you leave, never come back. And she said, okay. And so because people recognized her light as she traveled, even though she traveled with nothing, she always seemed to land on her feet. And she traveled by foot to, it's weird because the word they want to give me is the capital, but I don't know what that means. Where Jesus was, the capital, she said, to the capital. And so she traveled by foot to the capital, and it took her like quite a bit of time, like a few weeks. But along the way, she met people. So as she met people, she started to meet people who would say, when you get there, you need to connect with this person, and you need to connect with this person. And what was happening was, it was like a train of women empowering her along the way, like saying, when you get there, you need to find this person, and she will help you. And when you get there, you need to find this person, and she will help you. And so along the way, like that sisterhood transformed her, because by just simply being herself, she received so much love and so many, I'm going to use the word riches, because what I sense is that they actually provided her with, like, they did. Her dad threw her out. Not threw, that's not the right word. Her dad told her if she was leaving, she would not be leaving with any of his wealth. And so she chose to leave, like, I don't want to say in rags, but in like clothing that was not of the level of affluence that her family had. They weren't really, really wealthy, but they were comfortable. And so then when she traveled, along the way, these women were like helping her feel as beautiful as she really was. And along the way, she received this beautiful red dress. Like, she's showing me this red dress. She's showing me this woman gifting her this red dress, and like she's crying. And she's like, why would you give me this? And it's like, well, because you're special, and so when you arrive, you need to allow yourself to be seen. Like, you can't actually blend in because you are special. And that was like, she was like, that's a little wacky, whatever. But she wasn't a prostitute. She wasn't a prostitute, but she did engage in intimacy without seeing it as shameful, because she really felt that it was an energetic exchange. So where in traditional marriage it was more transactional, it was the responsibility of the woman instead of about the pleasure and the energy and the joy of it. So she did engage in intimacy, which of the time in many ways made her unmarriageable anyway, which she was okay with. They didn't like her at all. Like, the men did not like her. She was such a threat because the men felt that she was a distraction for Jesus. And Jesus was like, and Jesus would say, no, like, she's not a distraction. And they'd say, oh, but she's this, and she's this, and she's this. And he's like, okay. Like, they said she was evil. They said she had, like, sinful energy, which they labeled as, like, I don't know what the word is. It's like evil energetic attachments to her. They thought they thought that she was possessed by evil. And what Jesus understood was that she wasn't possessed by evil, but that her light came from her own human history and the ability to tap into source. And in combining those, he was like, okay, then I will excise the attachments from her. And so, while he knew that it would be easy to, in theory, excise the attachments from her really quickly, because he did perform miracles to try and teach people they could heal themselves by healing other people, he went through a process with her of being connected with her for a very long period of time, and justified it by telling them, specifically 4 men, that he was healing her out of these attachments. And because there were so many, which, by the way, were what they studied together, so he said there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Said she had 7 attachments, but what they were really doing was like studying the energetic centers together and work around like chakra stuff that he had learned. Yeah, that he had learned, and he wanted her to. Well, it's funny because she intuitively understood some of it, but didn't have the language for it, whereas he had the language for it, so they studied together. And she had already, because when she arrived at the capital, she hooked up with, I want to use the word a queen, but she's not a queen, she's like remember how I told you she was sent to all these women? There was a woman in the capital that she connected with, and this woman was so fucking good to her, and it's through her that she met Jesus, because this woman's husband was connected to Jesus. And so it was through her that she met Jesus. And this woman was actually considered a threat too. But it was this woman who Maggie and she started to bring together and find these women, and then they started to gather. And then in the meantime, Maggie got connected with Jesus, and they started doing their thing. And it was actually after the sacred circle of light had already been established, and she had actually believed that Jesus was trustworthy enough, because even though all the hype, she saw something different in Jesus. Like, she saw what she herself felt, which was that we're all one, we all have beautiful power, we all have magical light. But she was afraid because she saw the men around Jesus getting so shifted into ego that she wasn't convinced that he wouldn't shift into ego. So she needed some time to suss him out, to be able to trust him enough to bring him into that circle and truly believe that he wouldn't throw them under the bus or into the fire, actually. Because that's what happened to women who were seen as becoming too powerful or intolerant. They were described as being possessed by evil and thrown into fires. And part of the reason that Jesus spent as much time as he did with Maggie was because not only did he see her light and like really understand that she got it, that she too was a starseed, kind of a leader of light. He also feared for her safety because they were labeling her, because she was kind of an unusually outspoken woman who had come to town and connected with a very wealthy woman, so they didn't trust that. And then so then they were like, oh, well, she's a prostitute, she's possessed by evil, she's got all these horrible things, like she should be thrown to the flames. And Jesus was like, whoa, like, this is how we act with compassion and love. This is like, chill the fuck out, dudes. We act with compassion and love, and I need time. I will heal this woman. Not everyone deserves to experience being tethered to their evils, which, by the way, is her human history. So then what they did was they did meditation, chakra energy, channeling, something with water. Like putting their hands over water and like creating vibration in water without touching it. And I laughed a lot. But more than anything, it was like like everything is connected. Like when you start to realize that everything is connected, you realize that you can influence anything for the positive or for the negative. But you have to step out of the thinking and into the being of one. So yeah, that's when he got invited in. Well, she herself was a channel. And it scared people.
Well,
but that was the other thing. As she met these women along the way, I hate that word, healed them, right? And that's how they were like, okay, like, you're amazing, you gotta go see my friend so-and-so. Like, she will love you, she will take care of you, she will help you. And yeah.